Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is a recording of a class given by Srila Prabhupada himself. It is Canto 1, Chapter 7, Text 15, and we request that you pick up your listening device's volume so that you can hear clearly. Sometimes these recordings are a little low on volume. All right, without further ado, we'll start this class. Hare Krishna.
Mata Sishunang Nidhanam Sutana Nishamaghoram Pritapramana Tada Dudada Bashpa Kolaru Kulaksi Tang Santayam Aha Piritamali. So Draupadi's 5 sons were killed. 5 sons by 5 husbands. You know the history of Draupadi. She had 5 husbands, which is forbidden nowadays. Although in some hilly districts, still the system is current that one woman has got 5 or 6 husbands. This practice was there even in high circle, that is now forbidden. Devarena sutatpatti kalau pancha vivarjayat. Don't try to imitate Draupadi. That is not allowed in this age. Aswamedam gavalammam parapaitikam devarena sutatpatti kalau pancha vivajya. So when Draupadi was gained by Arjuna, the 5 Pandavas were in the forest, incognito. So when they came to their mother in jubilation, they exclaimed, "Mother, we have got a very nice jewel." So mother said, "All right, my dear sons, enjoy it for all of you 5. So on the order of mother, they accepted Draupadi as a common wife. But that does not mean she had many sons, only 5 sons. By the 5 husbands, 1 son. That is also under system, not competition, that each husband will produce dozens of children. No. So, when the mother understood that her sons were killed, certainly she was very, very unhappy. Mata Sishunang Nidhanam Sutana Nisamma Ghoram Paritapamana lamenting. That is natural. So, Tada Rudot Baspo Korakulaksi, with tears she was crying, and Tang Santayan pacifying, Aha Kiritamali. Kiritamali is Arjuna. So, they are directly connected with Krishna. Draupadi's another name is Krishna. And still, they had to suffer the material pangs. Not that because one is Krishna conscious, there will be no material suffering. Actually, those who are Krishna conscious, they have no material suffering. Although it appears that they are suffering, they are not suffering. They can accept any so-called suffering and accept it as mercy of Krishna. They never take it as suffering. Tattena kampasu samikshamana bhunjana evatma kritam vipaka. A devotee, when he is in suffering, so-called suffering, he accepts it as the mercy of Krishna. Tattena kampa. And he rather thanks Krishna that I had to suffer many more times, but you have minimized it, giving me little suffering. So it is your mercy. And if anyone lives on that attitude, everything taken as Krishna's mercy, then he is guaranteed to go back home, back to God. Mukti padesa dayabha. Dayabha means he is going back to home, back to Godhead, is exactly like the inheritance of property by the son. Mukti padesa dayabha. So we should learn from the Pandavas that Krishna was always present with them. Still they had to suffer so much material tribulations. So they were never unhappy. Neither they requested Krishna that, my dear friend Krishna, you are always with us. Still we had to suffer. Never expressed that. That is pure devotion. Never try to take any benefit from Krishna. Simply try to give benefit to Krishna. Do not take any benefit from Krishna. This is pure devotion. Perhaps you know that once upon a time Rupa Goswami desired that if I would get some nice food stuff, I would have invited Sanatana Goswami and cook some nice food. He desired like that. They are living Vrindavan here and there under the shade of a tree. They had no stock, nothing. So one very beautiful girl came and offered rice, dal, ghee. She said, Baba, we have got some festival. In this country, they address saintly person as Baba. So she offered so many things, and he immediately invited Sanatana Goswami. They are living separately. And Rupa Goswami was a very good cook also. So he prepared very nice preparation and offered to Sanatana Goswami prasadam. So Sanatana Goswami astonishingly inquired, where you got all these nice things in this forest? So he told the whole story that in the morning I desired, and just a few little time, one very beautiful girl came and offered these ingredients. So after hearing the description of the beautiful girl, Sanatana Goswami could understand that she was Radharani. So immediately he chastised Rupa Goswami that you have taken service from Radharani. This is not good. We are trying to give service to Radharani, and you have taken service from Radharani. So this is Vaishnava consideration. They are firmly determined not to bother Krishna with anything, simply to serve. Anukulyena Krishnanusana. Similarly, Krishna also finds opportunity when to serve his devotees. This is the reciprocation. The devotee wants to serve Krishna without any return. And Krishna also wants to serve devotee whenever there is opportunity. This is the transaction of love, not to take anything in return. Aslishama padratang pinastama marmahatam parutama adarsana yatha tathava vidadhatu lampata mat prananathas. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching that from Krishna's side he may do whatever he likes. That is full
To be
surrender.
very okay. I took it
Still,
out.
he is my master.
Oh, okay.
He is
Wait, but
nobody else. He is
we'll
still my
let it wet it for you
worshipable
first.
master. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung Manasa deha geha jo kichu moro otpinu tua pade Nanda Kishore.
Okay, now try.
Nanda Kishore is Krishna. So, this is full surrender. My dear Nanda Kishore, whatever I have got, now I am
Okay,
offering
then I
it.
can do it downstairs. I'm not. Okay,
Oh, what I have got.
I'll do it. Give me. I'll do it with the knife. That's what I'm saying. I'm going up and down. I got it.
I have got my body, I have got my mind, and a so-called home, or a wife, or a few children, what I have got. So everything is offered to you. Manasa deho geho jo kichu moro. This is full surrender. Now he says, Maravi rakhavi jai chatuha. I am surrendering to you everything. Now, if you like, you can save me, or if you like, you can kill me. This is full surrender. So these Pandavas are the best example, and better than the Pandavas, there are other devotees, and the topmost surrendered devotee are the gopis. There is no more higher exalted devotees than the gopis. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that the gopis, the Ramma Kachit Upasana Brajavadhu Varga Bhijakul. There is no better type of worshipping Krishna than the method by which gopis worship Krishna. Their love was so intense that they did not care for any family, any honor, or any prestige, nothing. That is the highest, topmost loving state of Krishna. And Krishna also loved the gopis so much so that Krishna asked them that you cannot expect any return from me for your ecstatic love. I cannot. It is beyond my power. So they purchased Krishna. And the topmost gopi is Radha. So we should not consider these gopis' dealings with Krishna as ordinary material dealings. It is not that. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavita sabhi ja eva nijadupataya kala. The gopis are expansion of Krishna's pleasure potential. That is described by Srila Jiva Goswami. Radha Krishna pranaya vikiti alladini shakti asma. Alladini shakti. Krishna has got the pleasure potential. Parasa shakti vividhaiva suyate. He has got multi-energies. In the Vishnu Puran it is also said, Parasa Brahmana Shakti Sadvedam Akhilam Jagat. Whatever we see, that is display of the potencies, different potencies of the Supreme Personality of God. Just like the sun is 93 millions of miles away from this earth, the planet, still we are getting heat and light, energy of the sun. Similarly, Krishna is in the Goloka planet. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuta. That is Krishna's energy. Although he is in the Goloka planet, which is the topmost planet in the spiritual world, you cannot estimate how far the spiritual world is from this material world. From material calculation, they say it takes about some 40,000 of years to go to the limit of this universe. Then beyond that universe there is the spiritual world, parah tasmat tu bhava anna, another nature, bhaktya sanatana. Then you pass through the spiritual world, Brahma Jyoti. There are innumerable, unlimited number of Vaikuntha planets. Then above all of them there is the planet Golok Vrindavan, where Krishna resides. It is said in the Brahma Samhita, Golokanamni nijadhamni tale chatasya. Golokanamni nijadham. That is Krishna's personal planet, Golok Vrindavan. Golokanamni nijadhamni tale chatasya. Devi Mahesha Haridhama Sute Suteshu. There are other planetary systems, Haridhama, Vaikuntha Dham. Then this material world is called Devi Dham. And between the Goloka, between the spiritual world and material world, there is Goloka Namni Nijadham Nitale Chatasya Devi Mahesha Dham. So there are so many status of planetary system. Each planet is full with living entities. The spiritual planets, they are full of living entities. They are all liberated, nitya mukta. And those who are within these material world planets, they are nitya baddha. Nitya baddha, nitya mukta. There are two kinds of living entities. The nitya baddhas are only few. But the nitya muktas are many, many. This material world is only 1/4 energy of the creation. The 3/4 energy is in the spiritual world. And here, in the 1/4 energy, there are innumerable universes. And each universe is full with different types of planets. And each planet is full of living entities. But these rascals, they say, there is no living entity, it is sand and rock. So this is not the fact. You have to understand from the Vedic literature about the planets, which planet is existing, where is spiritual world, where is material world. All informations are there. Don't speculate and simply think that this planet is full of living entities, all other planets are vacant. This is most unusual argument. There is no meaning. But we are not concerned with that. We have got our own information from the Vedas. So Krishna's pastimes is going on. Somewhere or elsewhere it is going on. Therefore his pastimes are called Nitya Lila. Nitya Lila Prakash. This Vrindavan Lila is Nitya Lila. It is going on continuously, somewhere or other, within this material world. And the spiritual world, it is permanently there. So the Pandavas, they are associates of the Nitya Lila. They are not ordinary human beings. Wherever there is Krishna Lila, they go. Therefore Arjuna asked Krishna, that how can I believe that you, first of all, many millions of years ago, you spoke this philosophy to the sun god. Krishna replied, Bahuni me janmani, what is that verse? Bahuni me betitani janmani tapacharya. Arjuna, both you and me were together, and we have passed through many different leelas, but you have forgotten, I remember. That is the difference between God and the living entity. They cannot be equal. We forget, the Mayavadis philosopher, they put this argument that because we have forgotten, now in Maya we have forgotten that we are God. So what kind of God He is if you forget? God never says, I have forgotten. Krishna says, Vedaham samiti tani. I know past, present, future. So where is the question of forget? If somebody forgets, that God is different from the God who does not forget. Therefore we have to accept too. You immediately have to accept Dvaitavad. One forgetting God and one not forgetting God. You cannot accept one. That is not possible. And that is the fact. Just like Krishna said, that I remember when I spoke to sun god, you have forgotten. So there are two. Similarly, Krishna's another name is Achyuta. He never falls down from his position. And if we fall down from the position, that we are not on the same level. We may have some power and we can claim that I am God. That we can claim, but not that God like Krishna. Therefore two words are there. Ishara, Parameshwara. In the Brahma Samhita, therefore it is described that Isharas there may be many, but not Parameshwara. Parameshwara is one. Ishara Parama Krishna. So these Mayavadis, they forget this, that Ishara and Parameshwara, there are two words. Atma and Paramatma, there are two words. So, they are not equal. And Krishna says, Matta Parataram Nanya. He is the supermost, Ishara. Nitya Nityanam Chetana Chetananam. Although both of us are Nitya, eternal, and living entities, still there is difference. He is supreme, living entity, we are subordinate. Prabhu and Anu, Vibhu and Anu. This philosophy is perfect, and anyone who accepts this Mayavad philosophy, that the God and living entity are on the same level, they have got poor fund of knowledge. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Also very, very, very wonderful, informative lecture by Srila Prabhupada. I have to apologize also in the middle of a lecture. Got a little distraction, but it was also part of the service we were doing, kind of multitasking. Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, you can unmute yourself if you have comments, takeaways, or questions that you would like to ask or share with us. So please go ahead and unmute yourself, anyone who would like to. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. August to
Prabhupada.
I was thinking when Srila Prabhupada said it takes 40,000 years to reach the spiritual planet, but then if we follow Krishna's instruction from the Bhagavad Gita that Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. If we remember Krishna at the time of death, in one moment we can reach Goloka. We don't have to wait 40,000 years to get there. So thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, wonderful observation. Yes, 40,000 years. He says that was the estimation of the scientists to reach the, to get to this spiritual means go past the edge of the universe. That's the calculation they made. Yeah, and yes, we can go instantly to the spiritual when the devotee is earn the mercy of the Lord and he's ready to go back to the spiritual world. The Lord accepting them. It's a flash and we're there, even though it's that far away. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wonderful observation, Mataji. Thank you very much. Any other devotees want to ask a question or share the realizations from this or, the takeaways? Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, all that you should
And
Prabhupada. One point that really struck out for me is in the beginning of the lecture where Sri Prabhupada said, suffering is mercy. That was very powerful for me. Suffering is mercy. And I would like to ask a question is, it's very difficult for, human nature to actually accept suffering as mercy. So how can we change our consciousness? Either you or Mother Gita, if you could shed some light on it. How can we, practicing devotees, actually really see suffering as mercy? Because we are very attached to how we want things to be in any circumstances of life. So yeah, that was a very powerful statement for me.
Hare Krishna. Mother Gita, can you go first? Don't mind.
Yeah, that's a very powerful question and a realization also. Let me think. It's, being in the material world, we are so conditioned to relating to material miseries as all in all, like, oh my gosh, this happened to me. It's like the end of the world kind of thing. We get so caught up in that cycle of consciousness of suffering that we forget to realize it is Krishna's mercy, like Srila Prabhupada always says, that the devotee, when the devotee gets the suffering, does not take that as a material suffering, but as a blessing, and thanks the Lord for, reducing the suffering because of being in Krishna consciousness. So it's just a state of consciousness, and that can be developed when one really sincerely tries to chant attentively in association of devotees and serve the devotees, because until and unless we become humble, all these realizations are not possible. All this knowledge from the scriptures just remains knowledge. It doesn't become wisdom. So that's all.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yes, we learn from the scriptures, and because we are more inclined to want sense gratification. And sense gratification, we categorize it as enjoyment. And so when suffering comes, then we are being deprived of sense gratification, and that's where the complaint begins. Because we're not getting things that the way we would like materially. Again, it also connects to our egos. We like things our way. But when we're in the material world, we are in the smack in the middle of happiness and distress. But the distress would come. And so Srila Prabhupada, through the scriptures, has given us a way to take the stress at a higher level of thinking, that it is the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that way, if we use our intelligence to connect with that particular statement, then if we're going through suffering, we say it is Krishna's mercy. It is also Krishna's mercy because we've been here many, many, many lifetimes and we never made it back to the spiritual world in any of those lifetimes, which means we committed so many wrongdoing. And so a little bit, rather than all of the sinful reactions coming on us, we have a little bit of it. which we're experiencing in this one lifetime. So that is also something to consider, that Krishna is actually giving us mercy. And then Srila Prabhupada quoted the Tatenukampa, which is the prayer by Lord Brahma, saying that there's anyone who takes that suffering as the mercy of God and does service enthusiastically, even within that condition, they have earned the right for liberation and they will go back. So Srila Prabhupada says, one who takes suffering as Krishna's mercy will go back to Godhead. And of course, that's where all the suffering stops. And then we live life in bliss all of the time. So if there's a little price to pay for, eternal enjoyment, eternal knowledge and eternal enjoyment, why not suffer through it? There's so much to gain, so much, much more to gain. And so that's the consciousness that hopefully we will help each other to maintain. And when we see the devotee suffering, then we see this person is getting the mercy and he has an opportunity to go back to Godhead. And if materially they begin to complain, then we can help them. Remember, this is a little bit a token of what could happen. It could be a lot worse. And Krishna is seeing whether you can still maintain your enthusiasm and serve nicely even when those things are happening. And through that, if you're able to do that, you're going back to Godhead. And Mataji, thank you very much. Because practically every time you speak, you remind us of having to chant, but chant attentively. Chant attentively. There's so much boons that come from chanting attentively. Krishna consciousness, purity goes up, enthusiasm goes up. All of that is for chanting, but chanting attentively. Actually, it is an offense to be inattentive while chanting. It's one of the 10 offenses, the very last one. So thank you for always reminding us. Every time you mention chanting, you qualified with attentive chanting. That's important. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was thinking also that we have a lot of expectations, so many, we expect this and this and that from this one and that one. And when those expectations are not met, then we get very upset and angry and consider that also as suffering, like, why is that person making me suffer so much? Well, I am the issue, I'm the problem, because I'm having expectations which we know it's not actually right to expect anything from anybody, because when we have that, when we are in that state of mind, then there will not be distress. We won't be sad or morose or upset when those expectations are not met, and we know they are never met. So it's just those expectations are in our head, which we need to clear. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much to add to this. Anyone else that want to share more? Please unmute yourself. Hare Krishna. Okay, so while the bodies are thinking, I'll just do my little takeaway from it. So, Srila Prabhupada started by talking about Draupadi. And Draupadi was married to 5 men, the Pandavas. We call it polyandry. That's the word for it. Polyandry. And Srila Prabhupada says polyandry is forbidden in this age. But sometime back, there were women that could have even 5 or 6 husbands. There are actually women that had even more than that. But that's a different part of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Pandavas, they were incognito in the forest, and of course the Swayamvar, but by where Draupadi was actually to choose a husband. That's how Arjun won Draupadi. But when they returned, then they played a trick on Kunti, and then this is how they wound up with all 5 Pandavas marrying Draupadi, because they told Kunti when she had it back to them, when they brought Draupadi back, that they had a nice jewel, and their mother told them to share it among themselves. And this is how it all started. But anyway, Draupadi wound up marrying all five of them, and they had a son each. Each Pandava had one son. And they were all killed also in the Battle of Kurukshetra. After the battle was over, Ashwatthama did that horrible crime that caused Draupadi to cry very, very, very badly. So this is the beginning. This is how Srila Prabhupada started. And we already talked about one who takes suffering as the mercy from Krishna. They will go back to Godhead. So in connection with that, Srila Prabhupada was saying the Christians always with the Pandavas, but they had to suffer so many tribulations. They were pure devotees. Now, the example they show us is that they never complained. And Srila Prabhupada says to take tribulations and never complain and keep serving Krishna. That's pure devotion. We also defined it like that. It's pure devotion. And then the story, wonderful story about Rupa Goswami desiring to cook very nicely for Krishna while he was in the forest. He had no ingredients, so a beautiful girl came to him and offered ingredients. And Srila Prabhupada says Rupa Goswami is also a very good cook. So he prepared very nice, tasty food stuff with the ingredients. And his brother, older brother, Sanatana Goswami, came and saw that. Said, how did you get all of these ingredients to make such wonderful preparations? Then Rupa Goswami explained that a very beautiful girl came and offered this. Sanatana Goswami could immediately perceive that it had to be Srimati Radharani who came. So then he chastised Rupa Goswami because the point was that he says we are supposed to be serving the divine couple, not taking service from them. So that was his point. And that's also very instructive to us. We are supposed to serve in all situations. We are supposed to serve. We surrender everything to Krishna. Then Sri Prabhupada quoted, Manasa Geho, Deho Geho. My mind, my house, my everything, I surrender to you. Back to Vinod Thakur's song. That we have to surrender everything to Krishna. The gopis are in the highest position in surrendering to Krishna. They are most surrendered. They don't care what rules and etiquette and so on. When it comes to serving Krishna, they just serve Krishna. We already talked about, Mother Gita has talked about the 40,000 years to get to the edge of the universe, and beyond that is the spiritual world, and the farthest away is the planet of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada also mentioned that the spiritual world is 3 times bigger than the material world, and that we shouldn't think that the material planets are vacant. That doesn't make any sense. The leelas of Krishna are going on constantly. So, Nitya Badas and Nitya Muktas. The ever liberated and Nitya Muktas, they are way numerous in number compared to the Nitya Badas, the conditioned souls that are in the material world. Because the spiritual world is 3 times bigger than the material world. So there are many more Nitya Mukta liberated souls in the spiritual world. So this is the cosmic jail, the material world. And of course, for any country, you see the population, the biggest of them are outside the jails, and then a few of them are in the jail. So it's also true here. This material world is actually smaller, 1/4 of the whole of existence, and 3/4 is the spiritual. So those are some of the things that I tried to get from this. There's so much more. Hare Krishna. Anyone else want to add more to it? There's a couple of statements from the chat. It's from Dear Krishna. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice discussion. I also like the point regarding expectations from others. We will always, we will always be very true if we expect things from others. We can't get things from any. You shouldn't expect things from anyone. Whatever happens in our relations with each other, there's always going to be something that will happen from the other side. All we can do is our reaction to it, but you can't force somebody to do other things. And if you try to force them, of course, that's an unhappy relationship. So, dear Krishna Prabhu says, thank you for sharing the beautiful pastime with Srila Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy. Actually, Srila Prabhupada that shared it. I just simply took notes and repeated it. One of the things about ego, which is very much connected to this. So I have a god sister, and it was a lecture that was given in Philadelphia. And it came to question and answer time. Bhakti Maharaj was the one who gave the lecture. And my god sister raised her hand and asked the question and said, I would like to serve Krishna very nicely. I'm kind of paraphrasing the question. But it says, how come every time if I want to do things my way, it doesn't happen like that when I want to serve Krishna my way? And I'm just, before my aunt could answer the question, I just started laughing to myself. What do you mean your way? Everything has to be done based on what Krishna wants. We should be surrendered in everything we do, even in service. Use me to do what you want. Not that I want to do things my way, and if it's not happening my way, then there's something wrong with it. Servants don't do things their way. They just obey instructions and follow it like that. So anyway, we have to be careful how we serve, the consciousness that we use. Hare Krishna. Are there any other takeaways or questions or realizations that the Buddhists want to share? Please unmute yourself. Hare Krishna. All right. So thank you very much. Looks like nobody's, you can interrupt me anytime you want, but it seems that nobody's asking questions or sharing more realizations. So thank you all for coming. It's a wonderful, wonderful year, 2024. If we give it all to Krishna, we stand to gain a whole lot by doing that. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhve eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much for being on this program this morning. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.